Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play. We're investigating with Miles part 21. In the previous video we thought we were gonna do court stuff, but then actually Edgy Boy remembered that he's no longer a court person even in the past. He's a detective now. That's what he is and what he always has been. So instead we're doing some detecting. Looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rell. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However, using logic, the only logical conclusion is, aha! You know what they say, pal. If you eliminate everything that isn't possible, you're only left with what happened, or something. You know what I'm saying, pal? What was that outburst for? My detective's instinct just hit me real hard. It was Mr. Rell that fell first, see? You need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. Common detective sense? Maybe you got a bit of a detective in you after all, Mr. Edgeworth. I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. I will inspect every nook and cranny. All of your nooks and crannies will be mine. Looks like Mr. Rell died with a knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. He must have used this as a weapon. Yep, no doubt about it. Maybe he was just carving a particularly bloody orange. Is Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? I should jot down some notes about it. I still don't think we should be rolling out the prison pocket. I'm just saying. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal? You know I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between these two men? Looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding the gun in his right hand. His right hand. You hear that, Mr. Edgeworth? Everyone knows 85% of criminal cases are determined by whether somebody's right-handed or left-handed. It always ends up being vital evidence. In his right hand. So he shot Mr. Rell and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun? I mean, I guess that seems kind of strange, but I've seen lots of stuff, partner. You don't know what goes on at the night shift. You know those places got ghosts in it? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun? Well, I mean, that's definitely the easy part. It's not exactly rocket science, even know how to pull a trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one. That's how they get you, Edgy Boy. I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. It sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands. It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun. I mean, what's wrong with... I mean, you know what? I'll play defense for Gumshoe. Saying, I hope I never have to shoot my gun, that seems like that's good. I hope a cop says that. I mean, yeah, does it look cool to hold a gun in your hands? I mean, maybe you shouldn't say that out loud, but yeah, I mean, I guess guns are cool or whatever. I'm not like, you know, I used to be more into them when I was younger, and then I grew up. First he killed a Cadopian embassy staff member, then he was murdered himself. This guy wasn't exactly an angel, you know. Oh? What makes you say that? Got no wings. Ain't even got one of them halo things. Well, he's been hauled into the precinct several times for theft and assault, pal. Oh yeah, so he's definitely the type to have committed a... Oh, what? committed a murder, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, never mind. Maybe the screening processes aren't right. Maybe you were spitting Edgeworth. What the fuck do you mean? Just because somebody commits theft and assault. I mean, assault. Okay. Depends on the type of assault. Because I mean, assault is kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump away from murder, at least like 2nd degree. So, I guess I'll give you that one. He did admit to killing Mr. Deadman. Deadhardman. Hey, good point, pal. I knew my detective's intuition was telling me something. Detective's intuition? Yep, you know about it. It's a special feeling that all detectives... We don't have time for this conversation right now. Let's return to the investigation. Alright, fine. Fuck me then. Mr. Faraday. How ironic is it for him to lose his life in a courthouse? Yeah, why'd it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. I can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal. Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes? Well, ideally it was actually to prevent... Well, I guess I'm a detective. When I was a cop, it was to prevent them from happening in the first place. But now as a detective, crimes are actually pretty good. We call them job security. Then get back to work. Find out the cause of his murder. Right, I'm on it, pal. His hand is all black down here, see? Wonder what that could be. Ooh. If you look closely, this blotching powder resembles an ink stain. An ink stain? Yeah, seriously, get ink on my hand when I use my feather pen. Well, why don't you use a regular pen? Seems like that'd be a lot better. Unless you really get off on feeling all fancy-smancy, Mr. Edgeworth. A feather pen? I've never seen one before. Sure you aren't just making it up, pal? Mr. Rail's cause of death is from being shot, correct? I mean... Probably. Death is bad enough, but it's truly lamentable that someone would try and hide the truth. Personally, I'd rather somebody lie to me than shoot me, pal. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? I can't confirm Mr. Rail's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are? I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it. Libby. Yes, sir. We're taking enough photos of the scene, sir. And there you'll have it. Do you not approve? Of course not. What? Investigation of crime scene is work of detective, so don't touch a thing. Big fella, turn over bodies for me, will you? Oh, okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe, do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. I won't rest until I've inspected all their nooks and crannies. There's something in his breast pocket. It's a nook. It's a fountain pen. It's got a nice nib. I always keep a pencil behind my ear. It's because Detective Bad's always telling me, you should not always write your name on everything you own. Yeah, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. There's a knife wound in his chest here, see? I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Rell is holding. Libby. Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir. I mean, it looks about the same, I guess. naked quick. From the look of things, one could deduce the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. I mean, it seems unlikely. It's not like there's anything vital here. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to. I was still looking at their nooks and crannies. I mean, not enough to, like, instantly kill you. Mr. Faraday's holding a gun in his right hand. That's the one Mr. Rell got blown away by. Libby, your answer. Yes, sir. We found the ballistic markings do match that gun, sir. Ballistic markings are, ballistic are the figurative fingerprints a gun leaves on a bullet when fired. Every gun leaves its own unique ballistic markings. Therefore, by looking at the markings on a bullet, you can tell which gun it came from. Yeah, that's it. Of course, I already knew about all that, pal. Maybe you'd better off going back to the academy. Yeah, come on, sir. Cut me some slack, will you? So the bullet that was fired from this gun is what felled Mr. Rell. What do we have up here, by the way? Just to refresh my memory. No human can climb through the barred windows, but what about a demon? Okay, I feel like I can't do anything with this shit right now. I mean, other than pin. But that doesn't seem important in the slightest. It looks like Mr. At least, you know, as of right now. Looks like Mr. Faraday was stabbed with this knife that Mr. Rell is holding. Yeah, ouch! What's wrong, detective? My stomach started to hurt just thinking about being stabbed. Just keep your mind on the case, alright? Shot in the chest, and Faraday's to blame. It takes some guts to fire a gun in the courthouse. I guess it also takes some guts to murder somebody, anywhere. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week, and I still haven't fired a single round yet. There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean... burn marks? A round grows very hot as it's discharged from a firearm. Therefore, burn marks usually left when a shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. Okay, I mean, I feel like it's burn me up to get shot, partner. You sure do know a bunch of neat stuff for your age, pal. Apparently, this detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday marsupial. Now, let us try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory in any case. What a crazy way to go. What's the motive, partner? Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. I don't even know a firmer grasp what happened here. Time of death, 40:32, approximately 4. Discovered immediately. Died of a bullet wound to the chest, no gunpowder burn, suggesting he was shot from a few yards away. Well, so that would mean the only way it would be he got shot and then he charged him, so he'd have to be shot first. Okay. Okay. We finished talking to you? Or did I get interrupted when I was talking to you? First time setting foot inside the courthouse! Who would have thought I'd be for my first case as a detective? You know, I get the feeling I'll be coming here a lot more in the future. Especially once I become lead detective. Or the suspect detective. Oh, come on, Edgeworth. Why you gotta put that evil on me? Of course not, pal! Anyway, this lobby's actually pretty luxurious. I mean, for a defendant's lobby, it's got a pretty big TV. And there's that tea set on the table over there. Bet you didn't know I like to drink tea. Wow, this room's really decked out. If it means spending time in here, maybe being a suspect isn't a bad thing after all. I'm beginning to suspect that leaving this detective in charge of anything might be bad. Detective bad. But he's right, this room is rather well furnished. And somewhere in this room, the truth is slumbering. It's time to find it and give it a wake-up call. Alright, you know what, Edgeworth? I'm gonna end the video because you said that cringe-ass shit. Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home's so tiny compared to this one, pal. Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. To be blunt. Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Ah! Why are you touching the screen, man? The technology's not there yet. Way too noisy. You're the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. Ah, I see. Did you figure something out? Yes, totally. I wouldn't tell you though. The truth lives in Germany. This is a competition, Miles, and as such, I'd appreciate if you didn't talk to me. As you wish. Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case? Verde and Rel. Looks like they killed each other to me. Although, there are a few things that just don't seem right. And what would they be? Why don't you try thinking on before first you bother me, boy? What? Now I've been downgraded to just boy? Okay. Well, we'll start at the top. Fountain pen, ink stain. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen. Oh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe? I confirm the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is ink from his fountain pen. I see. Good work. How'd you know they were both the same? Well, they both kind of look like roughly the same color. Honestly, I'm just kind of spitballing. I mean, I don't really got any equipment on me. You know, I've always wanted to say that. Even if it was just one time in my life. What'd you say, partner? Good work. Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand. I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. Yes! All the evidence we need to solve the case. It appears Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well. If you say so, pal. There's a quality nib. So we can't use that for anything. Just make sure we looked at everything. The TV has been left on. Why are you looking at me? It wasn't me. I didn't touch nothing. Gumshoe, you do know what will happen to you if you touch something again. Right? Ah, he hasn't been invented yet, sir. I won't touch anything. I won't even go anywhere near the TV, sir. And you get back to your investigating, alright? I was planning to do so anyway. And have we? Okay, so we have checked all their nooks and crannies. So we got what we need here. We just need to put it together. Well, scent of flowers. I don't really know what connection we're gonna, like, what we're gonna get from this. I mean, I see that they're connected, but I don't really know what the, like, end result's going to be. There's a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table. And yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely the ones on the floor were knocked over during the struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there? Ah. The gnomes, of course, Mr. Edgeworth. I believe it's possible the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow. Please get that blood away from me, pal. Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag? Hold on, let me ask the lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on it or in the bag either. It would appear this bag is a very important piece of evidence. If you say so, I'll leave it in your hands, pal. Guess not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, it's actually a contradiction that shows there is another possibility. No way, pal, really? I suppose I'll just have to show you the contradiction in this crime scene. Okay, we'll look at all their nooks and crannies. Get Eureka? Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this! We'll talk more about the contradiction after this quick... I was trying to open the menu. After this quick intermission. Be right back. Remember the Great Thief Yatagarasu? Oh man, love that crow guy. He's so cool, right? Alright, we're back. We're learning about the pen because he used his left hand to write with the fountain pen. Ergo, he's left-handed. Maybe he's ambidextrous. And yet the handgun is in his right hand. Case closed. As always, which hand is dominant decides the murder case. Don't you find it odd the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen? Also, I mean, if we're gonna be real nitpicky, some left-handed people do actually shoot with their right hand because it's just how they're taught. I mean, just saying. Now, presumably if he's just picking a gun up out of natural inclination, yes, indeed, he would use his left hand, but... I mean, I don't know, I can't say I've known some people that were left-handed that shoot with their right hand. So... Because I think it's just like, that's just the way they like teach it, because it's like the default. And it doesn't matter as much when it comes to like, you know, compared to like just using your pencil. You know, like it's not as like, the fine motors aren't as big of a deal. So it doesn't impact you as much. The facts add up to one conclusion and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else! Plastic bag scattered on the floor and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. Some sort of crow-like creature. A person of vile intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us. What about my logic pieces? I still had some logic pieces. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. Rell survived for a short time after he was shot. What about the guy who was like barely stabbed? Instantly dead. However, Mr. Faraday died instantly from his stabbing. Yeah, that seems unlikely. I feel like it'd be the opposite, which maybe that's what they're setting up, but I feel like you would also quickly realize if one's a gunshot wound or not. Looks like now we know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course, the incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. What? But the defendant fought back and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt. I got many doubts. Do you really believe that to be the truth? So, one second. What the fuck is going on in this case? Okay, why would Faraday want to get his revenge? Because what did this dude do again? Because he killed the staff suspect. But who did he actually kill? Because it wasn't, that's the old case, right? Like, this is the one that this dude was the suspect. Not this guy. But like, who actually is the victim in this case? I don't even remember. Ah, this guy. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know why Faraday would want to be getting revenge. I feel like that's a fatal flaw in your theory. That or I'm just forgetting something. The prosecutor went into a rage from being... Oh, yeah, because he accused him of being... Okay. That's one of the problems with this case going over here, yeah. Well, it's basically doing like the intro of the case and then coming back like a week later. Yeah. That still seems highly unlikely. Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true? It's alright, if you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. If there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. I'll have you know, right now, Edgeworth is on his evil arc, which means we have no qualms about beating up a small child in the field of facts and logic. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rell survived for a short time. From this, it's obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. What? So, you're saying he, like, shot him, and then somehow he grabbed a knife and stabbed him. Okay, where would the knife be in this situation? Those are the facts of this case. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Okay, so we need some proof that he didn't die instantly. Let me refamiliarize myself with the evidence real quick. It's found in Rell's hand. This has Faraday's blood on it. The blood here is from Mr. Faraday, but there are no other clues to be found. Which begs the question. Do I need to put this bag inside another bag in order to preserve it as evidence? Yeah? Yeah, I'm like 85% sure you do. Who's from a few yards away. The shock from the stabbing called instantaneous death? I'm just saying, it seems a little doubtful. Rell died of a bullet wound to the chest, no gunpowder burns suggesting he was shot. It's possible he was alive for a little while after being shot. And this is his blood. I mean, the contradiction, I guess, I mean, there is something of like, how did his blood get over here? But I don't know if the game's gonna let me make that connection.
Hold it!
Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? I have the murder report right here. Mr. Faraday died instantly of shock due to being stabbed in the chest. There, you see, it's been documented clear as day. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in books. They're not always right.
Hold it!
Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell before he died? Do you have any basis for that statement? The evidence? Ah, shit. There they go again with the evidence. Your foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself, however, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? Yeah, well, I mean, they weren't there. That's all the basis I need. Alright, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, he must have attacked Mr. Rell before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see.
Hold it!
You believe the dying Mr. Rell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday. Mr. Rell became desperate as he did not want to die. Well, yeah, I guess. Human beings can do amazing things when they're put to the test. So the two men struggled. And in the end, Mr. Rell was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. Well, I must be clear and precise, so if you could pinned the statement to your testimony. Fine. Okay, they struggled.
Hold it!
About this statement. Mr. Rell used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see they had a violent struggle. Okay, is that just what they want? Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage our crop can do with the state of this room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else I can explain for you? That'll be fine. And we'll just do this one for content. Claiming speculation is a fact already. Don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking? You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rell. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making a counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from their fight. I dare say there's more evidence here than you could whip a whip at. So she's becoming more and more confident. And looking at this place, she might have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support our theory. Oh, 1 second. I need to get my phone. See, I thought like I felt my desk vibrating, and I was like, oh, is that my phone? Is it like getting a call for some ungodly reason? And then I looked and the phone was not there because it was back in the living room. Which is not where my desk is. There's something strange about Francesca's theory. I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. Because, right, we do have the... Oh shit, the paper's not actually a piece of evidence? Well, I kind of was going to use that, the one, because I remember it was like a logic piece, right? That said no signs of struggle, but they took that away from me. So I guess we'll use the bag then. Oh, wait. Didn't hear sign of struggle. Okay, so we could use that. They almost baited me.
Objection!
I know what you said. makes sense and seems logical and all, but I have the sworn affidavit of a person nobody respects who says the opposite. If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused a bit of noise. Detective Gumtree testified that he heard nothing. Ha! You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know? I mean, she's got a point. But for the sake of the argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Rell get his hands on the knife? With his fingers? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It's not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rell saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rell took a chance when he saw the opportunity, took the knife in the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in Francesca's statement just now? What did she say? I was just reading it, I wasn't reading it? Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. Well, I mean, in theory it's strange. Well, I mean, because at the same time, though, he could technically die instantaneously and still get a shot off. I mean, you know, your body tenses up. If he had his finger on the trigger. Now, I think it's more likely that for some reason the wounds are swapped or the forensics are wrong. Because that just doesn't make much sense that he would die instantly from getting barely stabbed. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. I don't know why I'm presenting this. She's the one who mentions this evidence? Right? Like...
Take that!
I'm disproving her with the thing that she said 8 times? That was like the whole basis of her initial line of logic? According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Oh yeah, you're right. Ergo, he could not have possibly have fired the gun after that. Brother, you don't get to do the speed lines for that. Oh, you got me. You've successfully argued your way into the position I was arguing earlier. I win. Ah, shit. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there's only one correct explanation. Yeah, correct, not right. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot, then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory? I see you've been studying, Francesca. Now tell me about German labor laws. I just wanted to explain it to as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid. You've positively gone native, Francesca. And still expect to discover the truth of the crime scene offers you? Francesca, you've still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Yeah, probably. I wasn't really paying attention to what you were saying. Mr. Faraday died instantly. And the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in the crime scene is... I mean, the evidence bag location. How could he have gotten blood on it? From where his body was. The evidence bag is too far away from the bodies. The bag that was held the weapons was this far from the victim. Oh wait, you mean... What bag are we talking about? Are we talking about like a... This bag or... Because I'm talking about this bag. And I feel like he's talking about a different bag, which is kind of fucked up. Like, when you say evidence bag, I'm like, the piece of evidence I have that's a bag? That you put evidence in? But no, they're talking about something different and it's gonna be wrong. And neither of the two men have taken one out without the other noticing. That is so fucked. Weren't you the one who just said, perhaps Mr. Rell saw a chance into... No! I didn't realize Edgeworth was going to be a professional dumbass and say something stupid. I got fucking CRPG'd, man, where they give you like the 4-sentence, like, or 4-word summary of the sentence, and you're like, oh, okay, that seems like that'd be a reasonable thing to say, and then the character says the most fucked up shit imaginable, and you're like, no, I'm sorry! I didn't mean to say that, oh god, I gotta reload the save, I can't be mean to the imaginary NPCs. Maybe I should have given a more detailed explanation. I need to think this over once more. I don't need to think shit over, man. That's so bull, man. Obviously, you're gonna think the evidence bag refers to the bag that you put evidence in. That is a clue. I'm not gonna be thinking about some nebulous bag that we haven't actually laid eyes on. That isn't even in the room. It's alright. What are we doing again? So the contradiction. Because I'm trying to, like, what's our official statement right now? Our official statement is dude got shot, then stabbed him. In the order the bodies fell. Could he have been shot and then stabbed and had this guy fall on top of him? I would say yes. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. So, order of events. Is the order of events wrong? I mean, I just don't think the dude died instantaneously. But I don't know how to prove that. Other than it's just, nah, man, send it back. They messed up the form. Don't do the finger thing. We don't know if we're right. It didn't even, like, it didn't make a change in the music, so... There's a contradiction in the order you said the crime took place in. Oh, in that case, why don't you prove the contradiction already? Miles Edgeworth, remember that. We Von Commerce must strive to be perfect in every way. I mean, you could have let me try and prove it. In that half-baked, okay, fine, whatever. I don't really see... I don't really see how this is supposed to contradict that he died instantly. Let me get this straight. What you're arguing is... Yeah, also, I don't know what you're arguing at this point. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rell. Then the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. Well, no. I feel like you've already made a flaw. He doesn't have to shoot him before he gets the knife. It could be he got the knife, was very clearly like, I'm gonna fucking stab you, and then dude got the gun, shot him, then he staggers over and is still able, you know, he shoots the gun the one time, he's not used to using a gun, he's kind of shocked, he doesn't know to double tap his ass, dude kind of staggers over, manages to get a shot off with his knife, you know, that type, you know, not a shot with a gun, you know what I mean, colloquially speaking. Then Faraday collapses on top of the guy. Like, there's nothing that outlandish about that other than the fact that he would have died instantly, which, based on where he's shown to be stabbed by the art, seems highly unlikely. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. Yeah, I don't get it. Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rell's, therefore... Mr. Rell must have died. No. No, bud. I literally just laid out the scenario for you. Like, you know, you're weak, you stab someone, you can't support yourself, and then the dude falls on top of you. That doesn't... I agree, it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Like, if anything, I'm like, the way they're presenting it... Like, how do they think it was supposed to happen? I mean, I guess they're trying to argue that, like, he couldn't have fallen on top of him and then the dude died, but he had already been shot. So it makes sense that he wouldn't have been able to throw the grown man's body off top of him, and he just kind of bled out. Not so fast, Miles Edgeworth. I'm sorry, I'm thinking again. I forgot you don't do that in this series. Oh, then they're gonna be mad at me. I'll get a comment in 2 years telling me to kill myself on this video 100%. I simply think you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. You sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It'll take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. Alright, so I think this is a good place to call it. I said this is a good place to call it. What are you doing? You're talking? Stop. My job is to yap? I don't know. I would prefer if it was like more hard evidence as opposed to hypotheticals. The hypotheticals that don't really seem to make that much sense. Especially like they're treating these hypotheticals like they're ironclad and there's like no other possible interpretation. Which doesn't really make much sense. Which is why I kind of have like a little bit of beef here. And then the evidence bag thing. I mean, I'm not going to hold that too much against them. Per se. But, like, that is pretty egregious. To be like, oh, evidence bag? You must mean the other bag that hasn't been mentioned? The bag that you haven't even seen. Like, I didn't even really know there was an evidence bag. Right? I mean, I was like... Obviously, I mean, the bag that you put evidence in. The evidence bags we talked about 8 times. Those are what I mean when I say evidence bag, not the evidence bag. But whatever. That's a minor issue. The order of the bodies and everything is a slightly more moderate issue. It's not that bad, but slightly annoying. But alright, I'm XQZ87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.